Now, hello everyone. We're gonna make some good pasta sauce today. This is the way how I make it, and yeah, I can only recommend it. The ingredients are half an onion, about this amount of celery, this amount of carrot. You have these meat tomatoes, we call them, or Walmart tomatoes, tomato concentrate, red wine. And my secret ingredient is not garlic, that comes also there. Secret ingredient is beef stock or beef bouillon. You can also use chicken. If you conserve the sauce in jars for later, do not use red wine or the beef sauce, just use the very standard ingredients. You can always vary the ingredients. You can always take less of the celery, it's a matter of taste. Some people even remove the celery and the carrot after they do the so-called sofrito, you will see later. I like to have my vegetables inside. I like to feed the bacteria in my gut as well, and not just me. So I will start cutting this now. And like always with cooking, it's good that you have all the ingredients on the table, because that saves you a lot of time. It might seem weird in the beginning, but it saves you a lot of time if you have everything around. So while I'm cutting, I am starting to boil some water for the pasta. Officially it's 100 grams pasta, a liter of water. You can also do a bit less. And I will not put the pasta yet, because I will, once it's in a boil, I'll first put the tomatoes there for just a bit, and then I put them in ice water. I have prepared here, this is full of cold water. It's not ice water, just cold water. And so I can peel them better. Like with everything, the better the ingredients, the better the dish. So if you have maybe a wine you opened lately, well, we could make it. Otherwise, a house wine is also fine. Okay, so I cut everything, and the water is about to boil. And normally I calculate, if you only eat pasta in the evening or in the dinner, I calculate 100 grams per person, but that is completely individual. What's also important to know is that ideally you first make the sauce and then you let it cook for like an hour, and then you make the pasta. But most of the times I don't have the time, so I do it at the same time, and the pasta is just cooling a bit down. So this is my sauce pot. There's the water for the tomatoes, really cool. Here are the cut vegetables. I'm gonna add a bit of sunflower oil. You can also use olive oil, but for a lot of times olive oil has an own flavor. Not everyone likes that. So if you want to have pure pasta sauce, then you use rather a neutral oil. The olive oil comes later. I will put the oil, then the onions, and I will wait a bit, then I will add this and the garlic. Really important is, of course, to not let the onion fry and get brown, which almost happened to me because the pot was too hot. So I just removed it and I stirred it as much as I could, because the whole point of this is to slightly steam fry it, like we would say, and not fry it until it's brown like a chip. So the water is about to get hot. I will just give the tomatoes a short round, maybe 30 seconds, not more than a minute, and then I will put them right after into here to cool down. So there go the tomatoes. I've removed the trunk. While this is here steam frying a bit, you can hear it sizzle just slightly. That's the right amount of heat. Okay, so the tomatoes are out. They're here cooling down a bit. Very, very important is to salt your pasta water appropriately. Now salting is really individual. Not many people, like a lot of people salt different amounts. I like to salt a bit more, but I also would recommend the people with high blood pressure salt a bit less, obviously. So this has been sizzling a bit. What I will do now, I take the tomato concentrate and I fry it with it a bit. Now around a tablespoon is enough. From a tea to a tablespoon. And then you just stir it with it. So it should do even more sizzling and bring a bit of steam. That's when you know you have the right heat. The smell should be now a bit sweet. So you stir it and you leave it a bit like that. So let's heat up a bit so the pasta really boils properly, and then we can put the pasta water, and then we can put the pasta. So a little information, I just put the pasta, the spaghetti, actually it's linguine, but you put them and then you wait until they're done. You need to be on the pot, constantly pushing them down, and then set the timer. Now, very important, you see here, a good Italian brand gives you two sorts of numbers, right? So the cottura, so that's the time when it's really done, in the sense of you have no resistance when you bite it, and then al dente, and that is the little resistance when you bite still the pasta, which is supposed to be like that. Not everyone likes it because it can feel raw. If it's really well done al dente, you don't really feel that it's raw. So I always aim for this one, and if I have another brand, I always put a minute or two, subtract a minute or two, because they most of the times give you the time of being cooked completely. That's wrong. That's not to my taste. I want to have a resistance when you bite it. Otherwise you have chewing gum. Nobody likes chewing gum. For dinner, at lunch at least. So you can see here it stops sizzling a bit. A lot of water is gone. So we're gonna do now, well, we can open the wine, and now we put some wine. You hear this sound? Yeah. So now you stir it a bit, and you wait again. A bit too little heat here. You wait until all the water is evaporated, and then we repeat this. We rinse and repeat this as many times as we want, as many times as we want to have a darker color. In the meantime, I stir the pasta. I really watch well the time, and I start peeling the tomatoes and cutting them. Now this is just to show you how easy it is to peel for me these now after my procedure is done. Now the light is not perfect, but let me just show you. See, I just peel it off like this, like this, like this. Oh, it's actually, my hands are more slippery, you see, and done. Now you could also put this in a mixer and puree it, but I'm too lazy for that. I don't do that. I like to have some parts between my pasta. Alright, so here we have the cut tomatoes. I did cut them, obviously. We stir it now a bit. And if you want to have them later in jars, I totally recommend that you actually mix it in a food processor, but this way will also go, you will see it integrates. And now we leave this boiling. I will add my secret ingredient, which is broth, and we'll just let it here slightly boil, like with the bubbles going up, for like an hour. I added the broth, and you can see it's almost covering everything. With the time, this will all be covered because the tomatoes give back some water. Very important, this might be a bit too sour, a bit too acidic, especially if you use a wine which is not open today, but you maybe opened it last week or 2 weeks ago, which is not recommended, but it's just real life. You can always add a little bit of sugar, white sugar, to bind a bit the acidity. Just a tiny bit. Here we are. Like always, remember, if you know a better way, please let me know in the comments. So, the sauce has been boiling enough, and I always add now the salt, and of course some olive oil to just give it another inch of flavor. Just a bit. And then we're about to finish. I've also added some green leaves of the celery. I just don't want to throw it away. Normally you can add parsley, and now is the time where you put spices, like herbs, not spices, herbs, and in which direction you want to go. The typical, let's say, pre-made pasta sauce always has thyme. It's a very dominant flavor, so you can also mix everything. If you're gonna add rosemary, you have more this roast meaty taste. What I'm gonna do is another secret tip, so I have it here, and I'm gonna go put it on my pasta without spilling too much, obviously. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add dried basilicum. It's summer right now and it's just perfection. You sprinkle it over your pasta and you are suddenly in the Mediterranean Sea on a boat enjoying this with a view of a coast. And that's about it.